First topic is resting potential of the cell. Inside and outside of the cell, electrolyte solution is present. In this electrolyte solution, the main principal charges are sodium, potassium and chloride ions are there. At the resting state, cell membrane have some characteristics, and because of these characteristics, sodium ions jump outside the cell. Then because of this movement of sodium ions, outside of the cell is the more positive ions are present. So to balance this charge, some potassium ions are tried to jump inside the cell. But this movement of potassium is very slow as compared to the sodium ions. And because of these movements of the ions, we are getting the imbalance across the cell membrane. And across the cell membrane, potential is developed. When this potential is measured using the electrodes, then it gives minus 90 millivolt. And this potential is called resting potential of the cell. In the resting state, the outside of the cell there is a positive ions are more, and inside of the cell there is a more negative ions are present. So this one is the resting state of the cell. Now we will see the action potential of the cell. When external stimulation is given to cell, then cell membrane changes its characteristics. Because of this change in characteristics, it allows sodium ions to enter into the cell. So, the concentration of sodium ions are more inside of the cell. This movement give imbalance of charges. So, to balance it, some potassium and chloride ions try to jump outside of the cell. But this movement is very slow as compared to the movement of the sodium ions. The concentration of positive ions is more inside of the cell as compared to the outside of the cell, as shown in the figure here. And when this potential is measured using the electrodes, then it gives plus 20 millivolt across the cell membrane. And this potential is called as action potential of the cell, and this potential is the plus 20 millivolt. Now we will see the cell potential waveform. The time of action potential depends on the type of the cell. In nerve cells or muscles, the rapid polarization will be occurred, and this one duration is the 1 millisecond is there. In the same way, in heart muscles, repolarization is very slow, and that time is 150 millisecond to the 300 millisecond is there. The ionic concentration gradient across the cell membrane is maintained by pumping ions between the inside and outside of the cell. This action is referred as potassium-sodium pump. To excite the cell, minimum stimulation is required and is called stimulus threshold. In the cell, that is considered as a minus 60 millivolt. The two types of stimulations are used in the stimulation process, that is a voltage and current in short and longer term. If suppose a short pulse is used, then intensity is the high. If longer term is used, then intensity is less. A stimulus voltage, it generally does not affect a cell while it is changing its polarization. Once a cell is polarized, then action potential is generated. Following the generation of the action potential, there is a brief time period is there, and that time period is called as a absolute refractory time period. During this time period, if suppose you are given the strongest stimulation for the cell, then that stimulation is not affect on the cell. That time is called as a absolute refractory time period. Means within this time period, if suppose we are applying the external stronger stimulation, then that stimulation is not having any effect on the cell. Following this absolute refractory time period occurs the relative refractory time period. So during this relative refractory time period, if suppose we are giving a stronger stimulation for the cell, then cell remains into the action state only, and that time period is called as a relative refractory time period. So whenever you are writing the answer for this cell potential waveform, then the waveform is very important. So during this starting, it's a resting state of the cell is there. Whenever you are given the external stimulation, that time the potential of the cell is decreases towards the zero only. If suppose this potential is reached to the threshold, that is a minus 60 millivolt, then after that there is no need of the stimulation. Means you can remove the stimulation after to reach this voltage. Once the potential is reached to the minus 60 millivolt, then the potential is continuously increases towards the positive, and it generates a plus 20 millivolt. That is the action potential. It is the electrocardiogram is there. So ECG means what? It is a graphic recording or display of the time variant voltage generated by the muscles of the heart during cardiac cycle. In complete one heart cycle, it includes three waves. That is mainly P wave, QRS wave and T wave is there. So first one is the P wave is there. So in the diagram it's showing that is a P wave, QRS wave and T wave. These are the main three important waves are there. So in the P wave, actually this ECG waveform, it's nothing but the depolarization and repolarization of the both atria and ventricles, and this electrical representation we are representing in the voltage form. That one is nothing but the ECG waveform is there. So first one wave is the P wave. This P wave is nothing but the atrial depolarization and contraction is there. And during this P wave, we are getting the amplitude of 0.1 to the 0.3 millivolt is there. Next one is the QRS wave is there. So QRS wave is considered as a complex wave, because during this QRS we are getting the two process. The one is the repolarization of the atria, and at the same time we are getting the depolarization of the both ventricles. So QRS is considered as a complex wave. So during the QRS we are getting the ventricular depolarization and contraction. At the same time we are getting the repolarization of the atria. Next is the T wave is there. So during the T wave we are getting the repolarization of the both ventricles. Next we will see the intervals. PQ interval. It indicates the time between the onset of atrial muscle depolarization and onset of the ventricular muscle depolarization, and this time is usually 0.15 second to the 0.16 second. Next QRS interval is there. It indicates the time between onset of ventricular muscle depolarization and onset of ventricular contraction, and the time is 0.09 second. Next, ST interval. The time interval between onset of ventricular muscles contraction and the start of ventricular repolarization. Time is 0.05 to 0.15 second. Next, TPU interval is there. It is the time between two successive ventricular depolarization. T waves. This interval represents repolarization of both ventricles. U wave. The presence of U wave is believed to be the result of after potential in the ventricular muscles, and this one is considered as a reference before start the next heart cycle. So in this we have to draw the waveform properly, and you should show the indication, that is a P wave, QRS wave, T wave, intervals. All these you have to show the properly. This question you are getting the either 5 marks or 10 marks. Now we will see the electroencephalogram. EEG means the recorded representation of bioelectric potential generated by the neuronal activity of the brain is called as a electroencephalogram, that is a EEG. EEG we are getting different for different states. So according to that there are 4 states are given. First one, that is awake and alert. When person is in alert condition or awake, EEG waveform found to consist asynchronized high frequency contents, and that wave is considered as a beta wave, and frequency is above 13 Hz to 30 Hz. Second, drowsy sleep. When person becomes drowsy with the eye closed, EEG waveform consists of rhythmic variation in the range of 8 to 13 Hz, that is considered as a alpha wave. Third state, early sleep and deep sleep. In EEG waveform, the amplitude goes on increasing and frequency goes on decreasing as the person moves from light sleep to deep sleep, and those waves are considered as a theta and a delta. Fourth state, that is a paradoxical or a rapid eye movements sleep, that is a REM. Sometimes an EEG taken during a sleep shows a high frequency pattern called a paradoxical or a rapid eye movement sleep. During this we are getting as a same beta wave as in get in awake or alert condition. So why we are getting this wave? Because during the deep sleeping that person may be dreaming or the mental activities are going on. So that's why we are getting this beta pattern during the deep sleep. So that's why it called as a paradoxical or a REM. These are the different frequency bands: delta, theta, alpha and beta. So beta we are getting during the alert condition. The frequency is above 30 Hz. Alpha is during the drowsy sleep. This one frequency from 8 to 13 Hz. Theta is during the light sleep. So frequency is 3 to 8 Hz. And during the delta, frequency is 0 to 3 Hz. And this delta waveform we are getting the deep sleep. So whenever we observe this waveform, as the person it transfer from the alert condition to the deep sleep, then frequency is goes on decreasing and amplitude of the wave is goes on increasing. So in this way you can remember these frequency bands. First band is the delta, that is a 1 to 3 hertz. This band has a frequency of 0 to 3 hertz, or lesser it tends to be the highest in amplitude and the lowest frequency. This wave is normally observed in the sleeping infants. Theta, this frequency band 3 to 8 hertz. This wave has a frequency band of 3 to 8 hertz. The presence of this wave is taken as a perfectly normal in children up to age of 13 years and in sleeping adults. Alpha wave. This wave has a frequency band of 8 to 13 hertz. This wave appears when closing the eyes and relaxing, and disappears when opening the eyes for alerting by any mechanism like thinking or calculating. It is major rhythms seen in normal relaxed adult persons. Beta wave. This wave represents fast activity and has a frequency band of 13 Hz and above up to 30 Hz. It is the dominant rhythm in patients who are alert and anxious or have their eyes open, and is generally regarded as a normal rhythm. So on the frequency band you are getting the question for the 5 marks. Next we will see the electromyogram, that is the EMG. The contraction of the skeletal muscles results in the generation of action potentials in the individual muscle fiber. Record of this potential is called as a electromyogram, that is the EMG. This one is a typical EMG potential waveform itself. In skeletal potential generated during the contraction and repolarization is very fast. The action potential lasting only within milliseconds. Similarly, activity is observed in the heart muscles, but repolarization is very slow process as compared to the skeletal muscles. Most EMG measurements are made to obtain the indication of the amount of activity of a given muscles or group of muscles rather than of an individual muscle fibers. The EMG pattern is usually a summation of the individual action potential from the fibers constituting the muscle or muscles being studied. In record of EMG, surface electrode and needle electrodes are used. For better diagnostic information, needle electrodes are preferred to record the action potentials from individual motor units. EMG potentials is ranges between 50 microvolt to 30 millivolt. Values of potential are may vary with the type of muscles and size of muscles or location of the electrodes. Now we will see the electrodes. There is a number of the electrodes are there. Electrodes are used to measure the bioelectric potential or signals from the body. The different types of the electrodes. The main category is surface electrode, needle electrode, microelectrodes and other types of electrodes. Again, surface electrodes are divided in number of the electrodes. So under the surface electrode, metal plate electrode, suction cup electrode, adhesive tape electrode, floating electrode and multipoint electrodes. Needle electrodes, monopolar needle electrodes, bipolar needle electrodes, concentric core needle electrodes. These are the types of the needle electrodes. Microelectrodes. Metal microelectrodes, supported microelectrodes, and micropipette electrodes. In other types of the electrodes, the stimulating electrodes and limb electrodes are comes. So in this, surface electrodes are used in the EEG measurements. So whenever you are getting the question which electrodes are used in the ECG measurement, then you should explain all the surface type of electrodes. If suppose you are getting the question like which electrodes are used in the EEG measurement, that time you should explain the surface electrodes and needle electrodes. Like that you have to change the answer according to the question on the same topic. Now we will see the factors on which the selection of a physiological transducer is depends. So first one factor is range. The range of the transducer output should be large enough to include all the expected magnitude of the measurement. Second, sensitivity. The transducer should give a sufficient output signal per unit of measured input. Third, electrical output characteristics. The electrical characteristics like output impedance, frequency response, and response time of the transducer output signal should be compatible with the recording device. Next, physical environment. The transducer selected should be able to withstand the environmental conditions like temperature, means change in temperature, shock and vibration, moisture, etc. Last is the errors. The errors occur during the transducer operation or those errors are caused by environmental condition of the measurement should be small enough or controllable enough so as to provide reliable output. So these 5 factors you should explain for the above question. So this question you are getting for the 5 marks. Thank you.